Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Thursday, so this is my expert series here, and today we have Bria. I am so excited for a couple reasons. One, because it's Bria, and two, it's my first international expert on. So she is not from Canada. Well, she lived in Canada for a little bit, but she no longer does. And I am a little sad that she's not around, but we can still share these wonderful ideas through methods like this. So welcome and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Darcy. I'm so happy to be here. And I am Canadian. Canada's where my heart is, but I'm quite happy to be in the sun in Arizona now.
Yes, it's a lot warmer there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us, what do you do?
So I am super duper passionate about really helping women, specifically moms, shift that mindset from focusing on being less to being more. I think, so that's a lot of what I do. I help women work on that, on really prioritizing themselves and their self-love again. I like to call myself a self-love activist. And it's my real passion.
Nice. And I know you focus on moms, but as we know, what happens to parents, whether they're moms or dads, really filters down and kind of percolates down to the kids and the family as a whole. And if the moms or dads aren't themselves, if they're not happy, if they're not taking care of themselves, it can have a huge impact on the rest of the family.
Yes, I love that word percolate. I'll have to reuse that. So thanks for that. Such a good term. I always feel like, certainly parents, but often moms are like the epicenter of the family. And we struggle a lot with, I think, putting ourselves first because we don't want to disrupt the ecosystem of the family. Because making a change, for me, if I'm the center of the family, making a change means it's going to impact everyone. And even though that's disruptive sometimes at first, I think the more we can get into this habit of prioritizing ourselves, inevitably it's a positive change for all of us. So for me, one of the big things I like to talk about and work on other women with, other parents are, and how it impacts the whole family is like our children, they do what we do and not what we say. So if we care about teaching our children how to care for themselves in a society that is really focused on, oh, you need to be less to be more. If we want to teach our children how to be healthy, have a healthy relationship with food, have a healthy relationship with self, we really need to be that example for them. And no matter what your goals are in life, no matter what they are, in success, in life, in travel, in love, in business, whatever your future goals are, it always starts with you as the foundation. So if you have I always say, if you have an inner mean girl, if you have someone inside of you that's trying to keep you small, it's such a critical piece to master, so that our children are raised and our spouses are surrounded by us by being someone who's happy and healthy and loves ourselves first. And if you don't have that inner mean person, it's so critical that we're as healthy as we can be, because the healthier we are, the more energy we have, the more love we have to give everyone else. But also I'm in my late 30s now, my late 30s. And I know that there are things that being healthy can impact in terms of, never getting certain diseases, but there are things that are coming that we have no control over. But I certainly think it's important when we think about our future to make sure that we're in our most optimally healthy state so that we can fight whatever is coming. There's so many different levels to it, but I really do feel like at the very core of it, we have to love ourselves first. It's that old saying in the airplane where they're like, put your own oxygen mask. Yeah, it's so important, because if I'm full and overflowing, I have so much more to give to everyone. But if I'm stuck in this mindset where I can't change and I'm always empty and always tired, inevitably you will run out. And then that's the example we're giving our kids. Give to everyone else before you give to yourselves. And it's a tough one.
Oh, it absolutely is, especially when, like you said, if the mother or parent is the center, right? And they need to take care of everybody else. In your day, you've got work, whether it's being at home doing all that work, or whether it's out at a job,
or
running your own business, or any whatever type of work you do, then the kids come home. So then there's dinners and there's lunches for tomorrow and there's homework and there's activities. And then after that, it's baths and showers and bedtime routines and reading books. And then after that, hopefully you find some time. But often it's like, okay, I'm exhausted. I'm just going to go to bed. If you can't schedule that time in, right? And
totally.
the
And
day
if
just
you have
disappears.
that relationship with your partner, like if you have a partner in this or a spouse, like that is a critical piece that needs to be healthy and fostered. So if you haven't started with you, then you're already empty and by the end of the day.
Oh yeah, and your spouse looks at you and you're like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Don't even. I'm done. Don't talk to me. I got nothing left because of everything that happened. But if you take that time to recharge, and it's funny because I was actually talking to my son sort of about this, and he's I haven't quite figured out the reason yet, but he's having some struggles at school right now. I don't know what it is. He tells me it's because they're not doing math anymore. And math is his recharging during the day. So since there's no math, he can't recharge. So he comes home and he basically loses his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So we had this conversation last night. I'm like, well, if you don't have math, then you need to find some other way to recharge because it's not okay to feel like this. Like you're not having a great day if you come home and I say one little thing to you and it's a huge meltdown. And we just don't have a great evening because our connections aren't there and our conversations aren't there. And his response was, well, can you buy me a math book to do at home? I was like, absolutely. I'm totally on board with that for sure. But he found a way. He came up with a scenario. And I think that's what we need to do as moms is come up with that plan of what we're going to put into our day to make sure we don't end up empty.
Yeah, that's a great example, a great, to compliment. You're right. I think it's just, we have to start. I really believe in starting the day with you. I'm a morning person, but I kind of feel like if I wake up to my children, I'm behind. Like I need to be up before them, even if it's not to exercise, even if it's just to kind of breathe, regroup, plan my day and be prepared for it best. I like that exercise. It sort of helps me get grounded and get the good endorphins going and start my day off well. But I think it's sort of a starting point. How is your day going to go? It's like planning your week. We all have these calendars and these endless to-do lists. And it really needs to be planned out. Otherwise it can't be executed. So having that plan of action, you're right. Like you said, that outlet for us to start off on the right foot is really the holy grail.
I completely agree. When you're sleeping and you wake up to a face right here looking at you, it's like, oh, this is how the day is going to be. You're already in my room. So much better to make that plan, right? Get ahead of them. Get ahead of the stressors of the day and make sure you start a good foundation. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. I think it makes a huge difference. And then I think eventually, you're tired, you sleep better at night if you start with you in the day and you're going to show up for your kids. We always do. So, when you've already taken care of you and then you show up for all the other things that you have to do in the day, then it's okay to go to bed at night and be like, I served myself, I served my kids, I did what I needed to do. And you can typically sleep a lot better because your mind isn't reeling and your body's tired.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And with that, do you have some tips to share? We talked about the morning, we talked about night. Were there some other ones you wanted to share with our listeners?
I think I liked a lot of struggles I hear from parents, especially in creating a morning routine, is that I'm so tired, getting up, I just can't get out of bed in the morning. And one of the things that really makes a big difference for me is I set my alarm. And when it goes off, it's okay to hit the snooze. Like I'll hit the snooze, but it's not okay to hit the snooze and close my eyes. It's hit the snooze. And then I love to put in like my ear pods. And I turn on something that motivates me so that I am already starting my day in a positive way. Like if you struggle to get out of bed, this is one of my favorite ways to do that. So I like to wake up at least 1 hour before everyone else in my household. And that's how I do it. I'll put in some ear pods, and sometimes it's just music, like a good motivational song that kind of gets the juices flowing, or sometimes it's an audio book. I love Audible. Just to get my brain already started, and then I'm less apt to fall back asleep. And then I feel more excited to start my day that way. And I get up, I plan my day and have a quick look over it. And then for me, I like that 30 minutes of exercise. And by the end of that, that's when people are starting to wake up in the house. And I already feel great. I've got those endorphins going. So that's my biggest tip, I think, is to start with you. Even if exercise isn't your thing, moving your body is so important, but having that morning routine where you get a little bit of headspace and positivity right off the bat is such a key start to the day.
Yeah, and it doesn't, like you said, doesn't have to be exercise. It could be meditation. It could just be sitting, enjoying a cup of tea or coffee, just some sort of quiet, some sort of way to start the day that's not like this.
Yeah.
Right? Not like, okay, you have to get breakfast, I have to get breakfast, get your lunches, let's get your bags packed and out the door. And you're like, what just happened there? But to be nice and calm and start the day with a nice, calm mind and a place where you can come at when a problem does hit.
I totally agree. And one of the things that I love along with that is this idea of creating before we consume. So it's really natural for us. Like I know that my alarm's on my phone, so it's pretty natural for me to turn off my alarm and then automatically scroll social media or head into, I know so many of us do it. I'm guilty of it too. But if I can take that time and, maybe I'm just listening to something positive, and then the next thing I do is sort of create my day or create some positive affirmation, create some space, whatever it is, before I start consuming other people's stuff can be really, really helpful. Now, I know I talked about an audiobook. I think if the purpose of that audiobook is to motivate and it's not like a screen in your face of what someone else is doing or someone else's vacation or someone else's party or, it's just something along those lines can make such a big difference in your mindset and what you feel like you're capable of for the day. If you just think about how do I want this day to go?
I love that concept of creating before consuming, because throughout the day, you're going to be consuming other people's stuff and you're going to be consuming your stuff all the time. But if you've created that safe space for it to go in, then it allows it a place, because it's going to come. We don't live perfect lives where children get up easily, get dressed every day, and then nothing happens, and you don't get phone calls, and then the afternoon they come home and do their homework willingly, and then go to bed nicely. And we don't live in a perfect world.
Right.
So being able to handle those, but having a space for those things that you do consume to go is so important. I love that concept.
Yay, I'm so happy. Yeah, it's anything, like you said, like meditation is creating some mental space and peace, or affirmations, a lot of people, or even just gratitude. Like what are three things you're grateful for? Simple things, I think, can make a big difference. And I heard recently a statistic that 70% of what we do is habit. So we have to be focused on creating new habits, because when life throws us stresses, our natural inclination is to lean on our habit. That's our comfort zone. And we want those habits to be positive and not negative all the time. So how can we create these new habits each day so that in 90 days, it is a habit that we don't even think about?
Yeah, it's so true. Oftentimes we go through our day just on autopilot. You get up, you do the same routine, the kids get to school, you go to work or do what you need to do during the day, then you pick them up, you come home, you go through that same schedule, and it's autopilot. And we don't really take that moment to be thankful for our kids, or thankful for the sun, or a warm day in amongst a bunch of cold ones.
Yes, for sure.
We just kind of go through the day, right? So having those morning routines where you give thanks and gratitude, and you just sit.
You just sip that tea, sip that coffee, enjoy the peace, do whatever it is that you need for you, so that when people do wake up and need things from you, you've given yourself something first.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a long period of time. Like, I know some people already get up super early at 5 or 5:30, so getting up an extra hour early, to me, 4 o'clock in the morning is completely unthinkable. But but just say 5 or 10 minutes early,
Totally.
you could just have that time and that space in that short amount of time. So you don't need to be like, how am I ever going to get up at 4 when the sun hasn't even thought about getting up yet? But you can find the space even when
Yes.
your days are packed from 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. There is 5 and 10 minutes in there somewhere.
Yeah, I do. I totally agree with you. But I do like to say to people as well, like time is a number, just like a number on a scale. Like it's relative. It doesn't really, typically, if you start getting up a little bit earlier, your body, your circadian rhythm will eventually, after a week or two, adjust, and you'll just be tired earlier, and that's okay, because we do need a right amount of sleep. So these things are all really difficult. I feel like if you have babies, if you have children that are under 9 months of age, I mean, it's so hard. Like you just need to sleep, and you should. That's what you should do. Get through your day, keep everyone alive, and sleep, and you're. But if you have older children like ours at this point, I think just focusing on that, right, even if it starts as like a 15-minute period, and then if you find, what, this isn't so bad, I could probably do a little bit more, I could do something with that time for me, then that's an option for you, and your body will adjust.
Yeah, and increasing those times like slowly, like let's say do 15 minutes like every day this week, then next week maybe it's 20 minutes, then 25 minutes. It's not such a huge change, but you're getting what you need.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So that's what I really love, is like helping women, one, like make the habit of putting themselves first, because I think that not only does it make us more successful in what we want in life, but it also sets that example for our children. So that's how they're being raised. They're raised thinking, okay, I should take some time for me, and I matter. And it's not being selfish taking time for myself. It's self-care. It's self-love.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have anything coming up? Webinars, workshops, programs, challenges?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every month I have, if people are ready to focus specifically in on improving their nutrition or improving their fitness, I always have I call them boot camps. They're virtual boot camps where we kind of come together and we really focus in on that holistic approach of self-love. So it's fitness, nutrition, support, and motivation, and sort of that patience around that, creating new habits there. Because like I said, for me, that's the foundation. And so I have ones that are more fitness focused and ones that are more nutrition focused. So I have something of each of those starting May 1st. But I also have a great quiz that I have just finished putting together and thrown out, that comes along with some free emails and kind of talks through some tips. But if you have an inner mean girl that's kind of keeping you from making these changes, for me, I always think, the first way to beating your enemy is knowing your enemy. So you can take my free quiz. I know I sent it to you, so you can share that around if you want. And it helps you understand who's your inner mean girl, what's her MO, and some quick tips and steps and freebies on how to start mastering that piece, so you can believe that you are capable and you can change it, and this is something that's healthy for you.
That's awesome. And I'll definitely put that in the comments when this video goes, so that people can access that and really get in touch with their inner mean girl and see who's there hiding.
Yes, and I do have a free community that I offer as well, which is really, it's women only, but it's got a whole lot of moms in it from all over, and the focus really is on sharing things that help us focus on being more and not less. That's, as I said at the beginning, I think when we focus so much on, I need to be smaller, I need to weigh less, you know what I mean? I think that we don't necessarily weigh less, but we shrink ourselves down a little bit. And what we want is to take up space, I think, in this world. We want to raise our children in a place where we're taking up space, we're standing strong. And so that's a lot about what happens in the free community. So any women that watch this are welcome in that as well. And I can share the link with you.
Yes, please do. Definitely. And how can, other than those communities, how else can people get in touch with you if they want to know more?
Awesome. So you can check me out on Instagram. Bria.Evenson is my handle there, or Bria Evenson on Facebook. You can check me out, or my website is briaevensonfitness.com. And you can contact me through any of those ways as well. I do have some other great freebies that I throw up there, different meal plans and free workouts and things just to help people get started. But you're welcome to dive into any of it. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bria, for being here all the way from Arizona. Nice. Yay. And for everyone out there, if you haven't joined my group, it's The Parents Place on Facebook. And we will see everyone next week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.